The screen door slammed behind me like a gunshot in the dead of night. My backpack thudding against my spine as I bolted down the cracked driveway of our trailer in rural Ohio. Mom's scream tore through the flimsy walls. "Nicholas, what the hell is this? You think you could just write it and run?" Her voice raw with the kind of betrayal that only family can wield like a blade. I'd left the note on the kitchen table, folded once under the salt shaker. "I'm gay. I can't pretend anymore. Don't look for me." 3 sentences, and my whole world shattered into 1,000 fluorescent-lit pieces. I didn't stop running until the sodium lamps of the all-night Walmart flickered into view, a glowing monolith against the black fields that swallowed everything else. My lungs burned, legs jelly from the 3-mile hike along Highway 23. But inside those automatic doors, the hum of AC and the endless aisles felt like sanctuary, a neutral ground where no one asked questions, where lost boys like me could blend into the shelves of cheap cereal and off-brand jeans. I collapsed onto a bench by the garden center, the fake plastic ferns mocking my panic. And that's when I first saw Gary, tall, broad-shouldered, restocking poinsettias with hands that moved like they knew loss too. His name tag glinting under the lights like a promise I wasn't ready to trust. It was Black Friday Eve, the store already buzzing with early birds hunting deals on TVs and turkey basters. But I barely registered the chaos. All I could think was how Mom's face would look when she read that note, her lips pursing like they did after Dad's overdose. The silence that followed worse than any yell. I'd rehearsed coming out 100 times in my head, mirror-side monologues in our cramped bathroom. But words failed me every time she walked in with her shift nurse scrubs and that weary smile. So I wrote it. Cowardly? Maybe. But in small-town America, where the church steeple casts the longest shadow, sometimes ink is the only weapon you've got. Gary glanced my way, wiping sweat from his brow with the back of his wrist, his blue eyes narrowing not in suspicion but something softer, pity, maybe, or recognition. "You okay, kid?" he called over the rustle of cellophane, his voice carrying that Midwestern drawl, warm as fresh apple pie but edged with gravel. I nodded too fast, mumbling about waiting for a ride that didn't exist, and he didn't push. Instead, he tossed me a bottle of water from the cooler, cold and beaded with condensation. "On the house. Looks like you ran a marathon." I caught it, our fingers brushing for a split second, electric, forbidden, and I knew right then that Walmart wasn't just safe, it was dangerous. That first night blurred into a haze of hiding. I dozed in the photo booth until security eyed me funny, then wandered the aisles like a ghost, fingering flannel shirts I couldn't afford, inhaling the scent of popcorn from the snack bar like it was home. By dawn, my phone was blowing up, voicemails from Mom, escalating from shock to rage. "How could you do this to me? Nikki, after everything, your father's turning in his grave." I powered it off, the silence of mercy, and that's when Gary found me again, slumped against the tire center, staring at the rows of Goodyears like they held answers. "Hey, Drifter," he said, sliding down beside me, his work boots scuffing the linoleum. Up close, he was older than I thought, mid-20s, with a faint scar above his left eyebrow and laugh lines that didn't match the shadows under his eyes. "Name's Gary. You got one. Nicholas." I whispered it, and he repeated it slow, like testing a new key in a lock. Turns out he was the overnight stalker, pulling doubles to pay for community college classes in Dayton. "This place," he jerked his thumb at the sprawling aisles. "It's a black hole. Sucks you in, spits out dreams. But it's steady. You eat yet?" Before I could answer, he was dragging me to the break room, microwaving leftover pizza from the deli case, the cheese bubbling like it cared. We talked, or rather, he talked, and I listened, Starved for normalcy. Gary grew up in the next county over. Foster kid bounced between homes after his mom bailed and his dad went to prison for cooking meth. Walmart hired me when no one else would, he said, folding a slice in half. Steam rising between us. Gave me a shot. What's your story? Nick, I froze. The notes, ink still fresh in my mind. But something in his steady gaze cracked me open. The words tumbled out, Mom. The note. The run. He didn't flinch. Just nodded, like he'd heard it 1,000 times. Small towns eat their young, he murmured. Especially the ones that don't fit the mold. Then, casual as handing over a napkin, I'm gay too. Been out since high school. Got the crap beat out of me for it. But here I am. That pizza tasted like revelation. For the first time since the screen door slam, I breathed easy, the fluorescent buzz fading to a lullaby. Gary didn't pry about Mom or what came next. He just shared stories, raiding the candy aisle as a teen, the time he caught his boss making out with the cashier in the stockroom. Laughter bubbled up, surprising me, and when our knees knocked under the plastic table, neither of us pulled away. By shift's end, he'd slip me his number on a torn receipt. Call if you need a couch. No strings. I pocketed it like contraband, stepping into the gray dawn with Walmart at my back. The only anchor in a sea of uncertainty. Days bled into weeks, a rhythm forming around that behemoth of a store. I crashed at a motel on the edge of town, funded by odd jobs, bus tables at the diner across the street, where the hash browns were greasy salvation and the tips barely covered the room's musty sheets. But Walmart pulled me back daily, a moth to its flame. Gary's shifts overlapped mine sometimes. He'd spot me lurking in electronics, pretending to browse Blu-rays, and we'd steal moments in the sublet quiet of the aisles after closing. Ever think about going back? He'd ask, stacking cans of beans with mechanical precision, his voice low to dodge the night manager's rounds. Every damn day, I'd admit, tracing the barcode on a soup label like it was a map home. Mom's silence had turned ominous. No more calls. Just a single text. You're dead to me. It gutted me. That finality, sharper than any scream. But Gary, he got it. My old man said worse, he'd reply, his jaw tightening. Called me an abomination from the county lockup. Haven't spoken since. We'd linger then, shoulders brushing in the narrow path between paper towels and trash bags, the air thick with unspoken wants. One night, under the holiday lights strung early for December cheer, he leaned in, close enough I could smell his cologne, faint pine over sweat, and pressed a chaste kiss to my temple. You're not alone. Nick, he whispered. My heart stuttered, a fragile thing mending in the glow. But secrets fester like mold in damp trailers. Gary had his own shadows, ones he doled out in fragments. A high school boyfriend who'd OD'd on pills. The foster sister who outed him to save her own skin. Trust is a luxury, he'd say, eyes distant as he clocked out. I nodded, hiding my own gnawing doubts. How long could I leech off this limbo? Christmas loomed, the store decked in tinsel and fake snow, blasting Bing Crosby while families loaded carts with optimism I envied. I pictured Mom alone at the Formica table, the note crumpled in the trash, and the ache bloomed fresh. Then came the shift that changed everything. It was a Tuesday, slow as molasses, when Gary pulled me into the loading dock for a smoke he swore was his last. The air bit cold, diesel fumes mingling with his exhale. Got something to tell you, he said, flicking ash into the gravel. His voice cracked, and my stomach dropped. Not now. Not when I just started dreaming of us beyond these walls, of road trips to Cleveland's queer bars, of hands intertwined without fear. I'm leaving, he continued. Got accepted to that graphic design program in Columbus. Full ride. Starts January. Joy Ward with terror. That's amazing, I choked out, forcing a grin. You deserve it. But he wasn't done. His hand found mine. Rough palm callous from pallets. And he squeezed. Come with me. Nick. We can make it work, roommates. Whatever. I feel something here. The words hung, vulnerable as a prayer, and I wanted to say yes, to leap into that future. But the note's echo haunted me. Don't look for me. How could I drag him into my wreckage? I need time, I whispered, pulling back. Hurt flashed in his eyes, raw and unguarded. But he nodded. Don't wait too long. That night, I wandered the aisles alone, the store's vastness mocking my indecision. Past the jewelry counter with its cubic zirconia dreams. Past the pharmacy where I'd once filled Dad's scripts. A display of family photo frames caught me. Smiling parents, gap-toothed kids, and rage surged. Hot and unbidden. Why couldn't mine be like that? Why did love have to come gift-wrapped in rejection? I punched a shelf, knuckles splitting on metal, blood smearing the edge of a frame. Gary found me there, bandaging my hand with gauze from first aid, his touch gentle as a confessor's. You're worth fighting for, he murmured, thumb tracing my wrist. We kissed then, proper, desperate, under the store's unblinking eyes, lips tentative at first, then fierce, tasting of salt and possibility. But dawn brought clarity's cruel edge. I woke to a voicemail, not Mom's, but Gary's sister, Lacey, her voice syrup-sweet from back home. Tell Gary to call. Family emergency. And hey, if you're the new boyfriend, congrats, but watch out. He's got a habit of running from his own. Boyfriend? The word thrilled and terrified. But running? Gary, who I'd painted as my rock. I confronted him at lunch. The break room's vending machine humming judgment. Lacey called. Said you're a flight risk. His face drained of color. Fork pausing mid-bite on his turkey sub. She's lying. Protective. That's all. After what happened with Jake. Jake. The boyfriend who'd OD'd. The story he'd skimmed over now cracked open. Gary had pushed him away, too scared of his own feelings. And Jake spiraled. Guilt, he'd said, but Lacey implied more abandonment. A pattern. You think I'd do that to you? Gary demanded, voice rising. After everything, I wanted to believe him, but the seed of doubt sprouted thorns. Prove it, I shot back. Stay. Skip Columbus. Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. I can't, he said finally. This job's killing me slow. I need out. Betrayal stung, sharp as Mom's text. Was I just another pit stop? The argument escalated in whispers, accusations flying like shrapnel. You're using me as a crutch, I hissed. Like Walmart, safe until it's not. His eyes blazed. And you're what? A martyr? Hiding here, because facing Mom's easier in fantasy. We parted furious. The doc's chill seeping into my bones. Days blurred into avoidance, me in grocery, him in automotive, until Christmas Eve, the store a madhouse of last-minute shoppers. A man returns, scanning regrets under harried lights. When Mom appeared at the counter, coat dusted with snow, eyes hollowed by weeks of worry. Nikki, one word, and the world tilted. She looked smaller, the nurse's starch wilted, clutching a paper bag like a lifeline. I read your note. Every night. Thought you'd come back. My throat closed, fists clenching the scanner. Shoppers milled oblivious. But Gary hovered at the edge of vision, witnessing. Why'd you run? She pressed, voice cracking. We could have talked. I'm trying, church group says. Church group. The same one that preached fire and brimstone. Rage boiled over. Trying? You disowned me. The bag hit the counter, cookies. My favorite. Oatmeal raisin with walnuts. Please. Home for Christmas. Temptation warred with truth. Home at normalcy. But at what cost? Gary's gaze burned, expectant. And in that moment, I saw the fork. Family or future? No, I said, voice steady for the first time. Not like this. She deflated, tears carving tracks, and fled into the snow. Gary approached then. Tentative. You did it. Stood up. Pride swelled, but so did fear. What now? He asked. I glanced at the emptying lot, lights twinkling like stars. Now, we go. But Lacey wasn't done meddling. New Year's Eve, as Gary packed his truck outside the motel, me finally saying yes to Columbus, she showed up, unannounced, her minivan idling like a threat. Gary's engaged, she announced, thrusting a photo at me, him, arm around a woman at some family barbecue, rings glinting. To my best friend, Emily. Announced it last summer. He's scared. Nikki. Always has been. The world grade. Engaged? The kisses. The promises lies? Gary stormed out, face thunderous. She's twisting it. It was a cover. For the family. I broke it off months ago. Lacey sneered. Broke it? Or ran? Like with Jake. The pieces clicked, his hesitations. The shadows. Betrayal crashed over me. Title. You used me, I whispered, backing away. To feel normal before bolting again. Gary reached. Desperate. No, Nick. Wait. But I was already running. Not toward home, but into the night. Walmart's lights, a fading beacon. Snow swirled, biting, as I collapsed on a curb blocks away. Sobs racking me. Phantoms taunted. Mom's cookies. Gary's kiss. The note that started all. Why did love always demand sacrifice? Hours later, numb, frostbitten, Gary found me. Coat draped over my shoulders. His truck's engine ticking cool. I should have told you everything, he admitted, kneeling in slush. The full story poured out. The fake engagement to appease his foster parents. The guilt over Jake's death. He'd begged him to stay clean. But Jake chose the needle anyway. I run because staying hurts more, he said, voice breaking. But you're worth stopping for. Vulnerability stripped him bare, and in the street lamp's halo, I saw truth, not perfection, but human. Misunderstandings unraveled like cheap yarn. Lacey's protectiveness a shield for her own losses. I came out to Mom again, I confessed. The words a bridge. In person, this time. She cried. But, listen, a start. Fragile as new snow. Gary pulled me up, our embrace fierce against the cold. Columbus? He asked. I nodded. Together, we drove through the witching hour, radio crooning Springsteen, Thunder Road, anthems for runaways, Walmart shrinking in the rear view. No longer cage, but launchpad. Months in Columbus tested us, cramped apartment above a laundromat. Gary's classes swallowing evenings. My barista gig at a queer coffee shop grinding days. Conflicts simmered, his nightmares waking us. My calls home laced with tension. Mom visited once, stiff in her cardigan, thawing over diner pie. I was scared. Nikki. For you. For us. Forgiveness isn't linear, it's potholed. But we navigated. Gary proposed, not rings, but sketches of a life, murals on our walls, dreams sketched in charcoal. The climax hit unannounced, a gut punch from the past. Jake's mom surfaced, a specter in a letter. Gary killed my boy. Drove him to it with rejection. Lies? Mostly Jake's demons deeper than that, but enough to ignite old flames. I confronted Gary in our kitchen, pots clanging like accusations. Did you love him? I demanded. Enough to stay? Tears streaked his face. I tried. Failed. Swore I'd never again. Raw. It cracked us open, arguments echoing our first fight. But this time, we chose repair. Therapy. Twice weekly, walks along the Scioto, hands linked defiant. Spring bloomed, and with it, clarity. Mom called on my birthday. Proud of you. Son, not perfect, but progress. Gary's exhibit opened, posters of us, abstracted in blues and golds, titled Sanctuary Isles. Standing there, amid murmurs of admiration, his hand in mine, I felt it, not safety in hiding, but strength in standing. Walmart, a memory, faded as a receipt. Love, messy, conflicted, but ours human, unbroken. We drove home under stars, windows down, wind whispering futures. No more running, Gary said, fingers laced with mine. I squeezed back. Promise. In America's heartland sprawl, we'd carve our space, not flawless, but real. And that, in the end, was enough. The apartment smelled of burnt toast and fresh possibility that first morning in Columbus. Sunlight slanting through blinds we'd duct taped to the window frame because real ones cost extra. Gary was already up, humming off-key to some indie playlist on his phone, flipping pancakes in a skillet that wasn't quite level on our thrift store stove. Rise and shine. Escapee, he called, sliding a plate my way, golden edges charred just right, drowning in syrup from the dollar store. I groaned, rubbing sleep from my eyes, the weight of last night's drive still heavy in my limbs. Ohio to here was only 2 hours, but it felt like crossing state lines into another life. You snore, he teased, leaning against the counter, flour dusting his t-shirt like accidental art. His hair stuck up in tufts, boyish and endearing, a far cry from the stoic stalker I'd met under Walmart's glare. I chucked a bald napkin at him, missing wide. Liar. That's your cover for hogging the bed. Laughter filled the space, easy as breathing, but underneath lurked the undercurrents, the unpacked boxes from my motel stash, his duffel spilling sketch pads and half-finished designs. We'd agreed, roommates first, labels later. But from the way his gaze lingered when I stretched, shirt riding up, I knew later was a courtesy. My first week was a grind of survival. The coffee shop, brewed awakening, sat wedged between a vape store and a pawn shop on High Street, its rainbow flag fluttering like a dare to the campus crowd. Double espresso, extra foam, I'd bark, steaming milk with a vengeance born of necessity. Tips were decent, college kids with trust funds over-tipping for the authentic barista vibe, but the ache for home gnawed constant. Mom's last words echoed, call when you're settled. I hadn't. Not yet. Instead, I texted Gary memes from my shift, blurry shots of latte art gone wrong. His replies quick thumbs up and heart emojis that made my chest flutter traitorously. Evenings were ours, tentative rituals forming. We'd walk to the market for ramen fixings, elbows brushing in the chill, talking everything and nothing, his prof's critique on his portfolio too sentimental. Whitaker dialed back the feels. My diner's gossip, old lady Hargrove, swears the mayor's banging the librarian. One night, rain pattering the fire escape like impatient fingers. We cracked open a six-pack on the fire escape, legs dangling over the alley. Ever miss it? I asked, nursing a Bud Light. The city hum below us. The aisles. Gary's profile sharpened against the neon glow from the bar across the way. Every shift. The quiet after close. When it's just you and the ghosts. He paused, foam clinging to his upper lip. But this, us, worth the trade. The kiss happened then, unscripted as spring thaw. We'd been debating superheroes, me championing Spider-Man for his everyman grit, him all in on Batman's brooding edge, when laughter tipped us close. breaths mingling. His lips met mine soft at first, questioning, then deepening with a hunger that mirrored my own. Hands roamed, mine fisting his shirt, his cupping my jaw, rain slicking our skin, the world narrowing to that metal perch. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, and he whispered, "No running." I shook my head. None, but paradise has pitfalls, and ours came gift-wrapped in normalcy's poison. Gary's classes ramped up, deadlines devouring nights. I'd come home to take out containers and his slumped form over the desk. Pencils scattered like fallen soldiers. "You okay?" I'd murmur, rubbing his shoulders, knots unyielding as his focus. "Fine," he'd grunt, but the shadows under his eyes deepened. Echoes of Walmart stress. My own cracks showed in quieter ways. Nights scrolling Mom's Facebook. Her posts all church potlucks and 4 smiles. No mention of his son who'd vanished. A care package arrived unannounced, her handwriting on the box. Cookies inside, brittle as our bond. "Thinking of you. Love, Mom." Love. The word mocked, and I shoved it in the fridge. Uneaten. Lacey called mid-February, her number flashing like a warning. "How's paradise?" she drawled, voice laced with that sisterly edge. Gary waved her off from the couch, but I lingered in the kitchen, eavesdropping as he filled her in, omitting the kisses, the closeness. "Emily asks about you," she pressed. Emily. The ghost fiancé. Her photo burned in my brain. "Tell her I'm good." Pause. "And a new roommate? Nicholas. Right? Careful. Bro, he looks like trouble." Gary's laugh was tight. "Mind your business." Lace. But after hanging up, he paced, agitation rippling. "She's just protective." After Jake. Jake again. The name hung heavier now, a specter we skirted. I'd press once. Post-kiss. For details. "We met senior year," he'd said, tracing patterns on my arm. "First love. You know, intense." He was out and proud. I was. Figuring. Push him away when it got real. The OD came months later. Pills chased with vodka at a party Gary skipped. Guilt, he confessed, was a chain. But Lacey's barbs implied more abandonment. A cycle. "You think I'd hurt you like that?" he'd asked then. Vulnerable. I believed him. Mostly. Trouble brewed when Gary's exhibit invite arrived. Midterms be damned. His prof wanted student work for a local gallery show. "This could be it," he said, eyes alight, sketching late into dawn. I cheered him on, manning the coffee rush solo to cover his absences. But resentment simmered low. Our dates, stolen Fridays at dive bars with drag trivia, faded to quickies between shifts. Affection rationed like gas money. One night, coming home to find him asleep on the couch. Sketchpad open to a half-formed portrait of us. My eyes. "But Jake's jawline," I snapped. "Who am I replacing?" The words escaped. Venomous. He jolted awake. Confusion morphing to hurt. "What? Nick, it's you." But doubt had teeth, and I bear them. "Lacey says you're a runner." "Emily." "Jake, now me." His face hardened, the artist yielding to the survivor. "You think this is easy? Pouring my guts into lines while you play house with ghosts." Ghosts. Mom's package. My silences. The fight escalated. Words weapons. My accusations of emotional cowardice. His am I clinging to victimhood. "Go back to Walmart if safety's all you want," he yelled, storming to the bedroom. Door schlimm. Echo of that screen door. Months ago. I slept on the fire escape that night. Ray my blanket, replaying every misstep. By morning. Truce, coffee black. Apologies mumbled over cereal. "We're both messed up," he said. "Hand over mine." "But I choose this." You. Fragile piece. but the fault lines lingered. Spring break hit like a freight train. Mom drove down, uninvited, her old Civic rattling into our lot with Tupperware towers in the back seat. "Surprise," she said, hugging stiff, eyes darting to Gary's shoes by the door. Dinner was a minefield, spaghetti from a jar, small talk skirting the abyss. "Columbus suits you," she offered, forking noodles. Bigger world. Gary charmed. Stories of his classes. But tension crackled when she cornered me in the kitchen. "He's nice. But careful. Nikki. Men like that." "Like what?" The subtext screamed. "Temporary. Dangerous." I defended him fierce. "He's more than you know," but seeds of her caution took root. That night, after she left with promises of monthly calls, Gary and I made love, not rushed, but slow, exploratory, bodies mapping forgiveness. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of us, he murmured, "Marry me," half joke, but his eyes serious. Panic fluttered. Too soon. Hurt flickered, but he laughed it off. Just dreaming aloud. The real storm broke in April. Gallery night looming. Jake's mom appeared at Brood Awakening, a wiry woman with grief etched deep, ordering tea with trembling hands. "You're Nicholas," she said. "Not a question." Word from Lacey. "No doubt. Gary talks about you." Past tense. Might get twisted. She slid an envelope across the counter. Letters. Jake's. Yellowed, "Please to Gary. Come back. I need you. He destroyed my son," she whispered. "Left him hollow." I pocketed it, heart pounding, and texted Gary, "We need to talk." Confrontation in the apartment. Envelope between us like evidence. "She has no right," he seethed, but reading the words, "I can't do this without you," cracked him. Tears, rare as eclipses. I told him to get help. He promised. The truth unspooled, not abandonment, but intervention. Gary dragging him to NA meetings, only for Jake to relapse alone. I blame myself. Still do. Empathy flooded, but so did fear. And me? I asked, "Am I just?" "Therapy." You pull me close. "No." "You're home." But doubt's echo lingered. Gallery night. The space buzzed. Wine flowing. Gary's pieces commanding nods, Isles of exile. Shelves abstracted into longing. Ours hung central. Sanctuary. Evoking that dock kiss. Pride swelled as he spoke. Voice steady. This one for second chances. Applause. Then Mom's text. "Saw your post. Proud. Bring him home soon?" Thaw. Yet climax waited in shadows. Post-show. Champagne buzz. Lacey called, slurred. Frantic. "Emily's pregnant. Says it's Gary's." From before the breakup. The world inverted. Pregnant? Lies or truth? Gary's face. When I showed him the message. Ashen. Impossible. We never. But Lacey swore photos. Proof. Betrayal's knife twisted. Had our love been built on sand? I fled to the Scioto river rushing judgment. Envelope in pocket. Hours later, Gary found me. Lacey's follow-up. Hoax. Her drunk revenge for ignored calls. "She's spiraling too," he said. Exhausted. Lost her job. Hates seeing me happy. Relief crashed. But the scare exposed fractures. "We can't keep dodging ghosts," I said. He nodded. "Then let's face them." Together. Therapy followed. Joint sessions in a strip mall office. Unpacking Walmart wounds. Notes fall out. Mom joined once. Virtual. Her "I'm sorry" a bomb. Summer bloomed. A stronger picnics. Pride floats. Sketches of rings not yet bought. Fall brought proposal proper. Rooftop. City lights sprawling. Gary on one knee with a sketch band. Simple. Hours. No running. I echoed. Never. Yes. Tear-streaked. Sealed with kiss. Years later, married in a backyard ceremony. Mom toasting. Lacey's sober sidekick. We'd laugh at origins. Walmart. Our origin myth. Love? Not safe harbor, but wild river. Navigated. Cherished. Autumn in Columbus wrapped the city in amber haze. Leaves crunching underfoot like whispered confessions as Gary and I navigated our first year as us, official. Rings sketched, but not yet forged. The weight of commitment, a thrilling anchor. The apartment had evolved from crash pad to haven. His easel in the corner splashed with half-finished canvases. My coffee roaster humming on the counter, infusing air with Ethiopian bold. Morning started slow, his head on my chest, heartbeat sinking to the distant train whistle. Another day in paradise, he'd mumble, nuzzling closer, and I'd chuckle, tracing the scar on his brow, a foster home souvenir he'd turned into art. But normalcy's veneer cracked under pressure's grind. Gary's internship at a design firm downtown swallowed afternoons. His commute a gauntlet of rush hour I-70. Returning drained, takeout bags in hand. Killed it today, he'd say, forcing enthusiasm over lo mein. But his sketches grew angular, frustration bleeding into lines. My shifts at Brood stretched too. Weekend brunches a swarm of hung-over undergrads demanding oat milk lattes with precision, and resentment brewed subtle, like oversteeped tea. We'd snap over trifles, whose turn for dishes. The thermostat's eternal war, him cold, me sweating. Just talk, our therapist urged in sessions. Her office a beige sanctuary of potted ferns. We did, haltingly, unearthing Walmart's residue, my fear of abandonment, his guilt's echo. Mom's integration was the wild card, a slow thaw laced with thorns. Monthly dinners at her place, still the trailer, but with pride stickers on the fridge now, were minefields of progress. Pass the peas. Gary, she'd say, her smile tentative, forking green beans like olive branches. He'd charm with stories of client pitches, but undercurrents swirled, her sidelong glances at our linked hands. The church pamphlet slipped into my napkin, support group for families. One night, post-apple pie, she pulled me aside. He's good for you, Nikki. But marriage? Rushed. I bristled. We've earned this. Her eyes softened. Just protect your heart. Wisdom or warning. It lingered. A burr in my boot. Lacey's redemption arc added spice. Sober 6 months. She crashed weekends, hauling craft beers, non-alcoholic, and apologies. I was a bitch, she'd admit over board games. Monopoly hotels toppling as laughter erupted. But her insights cut deep. Gary's allergic to happy endings. Push too hard. He bolts. We bonded. Her and I, sisters-in-law, avant la lettre, swapping foster tales over late-night drives. Yet her words sowed caution, especially after a blowout. Gary skipping her AA meeting to finish a deadline. Her texting me furious. History repeats. The real fracture hit in November. Election season's bile seeping into streets. Signs sprouting like weeds. Slurs graffitied on campus walls. Brood became a bunker. Rainbow flag torn but rehung defiant. Customers whispering of rallies turned ugly. Gary internalized it. Sketches darkening to protest posters he never showed. World's on fire, he'd mutter, scrolling feeds till dawn. I pulled him a bed. Bodies entwining as distraction. But sex turned salve. Not spark, mechanical. Chasing connection, lost in fatigue. Climax brewed at Thanksgiving. Mom hosted. A spread of turkey and tension. Inviting her church friend Evelyn, well-meaning. But her love the sinner platitudes landed like punches. Homosexuality's a choice. Dear, she opined over cranberry sauce, oblivious to Gary's fork clatter. Silence choked the table. Mom's cheeks flushed. Torn. I erupted. It's not a debate. It's us. Gary's hand under the table squeezed. Support. But his eyes distant, retreating inward. Drive home was quiet storm. You okay? I asked. Headlights carving night. Yeah. Just. Tired of fighting. Tired. The word chilled, echoing Jake's letters. December brought the bomb. Gary's firm offer, junior designer. Salary bump, but relocation to Chicago. 6 months trial, he said over pizza, box open on the coffee table. Steam curling like question marks. Joy warred with dread. Chicago? That's big. He nodded, eyes bright. Fresh start. Away from the noise. Noise, Ohio's conservative underbelly. Walmart ghosts? Tempting. But roots tugged. My shop promotion pending. Mom's fragile bridge. Lacey's weekends. We decide together, I said. But doubt whispered, runner. Arguments escalated. Kitchen our coliseum. This is growth, he'd insist. Pacing linoleum. Or escape. I'd counter. Voice rising. Secrets surfaced, his hidden job apps from months back. My unsent lease renewal. Betrayal stung mutual. You planned without me? You cling to comfort. Climax peaked New Year's Eve. Party at the bar, skipped for standoff. Choose, I demanded. Snow tapping windows. Us or the road? Tears tracked his face. Can't you see? It's for us. But fear blinded. I grabbed my coat. Then go alone. Door slam, mine this time. Streets glittered with revelers. Fireworks popping distant. But I wandered aimless. To the river. Ice-fringed banks, mocking isolation. Hours blurred, phone silent. Dawn found me on a bench. Frost-kissed. When Gary appeared, disheveled. Eyes red. I quit, he said, collapsing beside me. Called at 3 a.m. Told them no. Shock rippled. Why? He took my hands, numbing his warmth. Because home's you. Not a city, not a job. Raw. It dismantled walls, misunderstandings melting like rime. Reconciliation was messy grace, therapy doubled. Walks mandatory. His sketches lightning to shared visions, Chicago visits. Not moves. Mom mediated. Her church group evolving to ally meetings. I get scared too, she confessed over coffee. But love wins. Lacey toasted at our engagement party. Real rings now. Silver bands engraved, no running. Her speech, to the family we choose. Spring healed. Us resilient. Pride march arms linked. His exhibit, solo show selling out. Betrayal scar faded to lesson. Trust not blind, but built. Summer wedding loomed. Backyard affair with wildflowers and Walmart cake. Ironies nod. Vows exchanged under oak, through aisles and avenues. I choose you. Cheers. Cake smeared. Dance floor our stage. Years on. Chicago a vacation spot. Kids adopted. Rowdy, chasing fireflies. Mom dotes. Lacey aunts fierce. Walmart, anecdote at parties. Love, battle-worn. Beautiful, American dream. Queer edition. Summer's swelter clung to Columbus like a second skin. The air thick with cicada hum and the scent of cut grass from the park where Gary and I hashed out wedding details over lukewarm IPAs. Our engagement had gone public. Announcement in the Dispatch's society page. A blurry photo of us grinning like fools on the fire escape, and the world responded in waves. Mom's church ladies ascending quilted potholders with notes of blessings, Lacey's raucous bar crawl for the bros, and the occasional troll DM that we deleted with eye rolls and block buttons. Fame's fleeting, Gary quipped, sketching napkin doodles of tuxes with bow ties askew. But beneath the buzz, depth simmered, our story not fairy tale. but forged in fire's afterglow. Planning unearthed ghosts. Venue hunt. Churches nixed, mom's compromise. Her wince apologetic. Courthouses sterile. We settled on Aunt Lacey's backyard, sprawling acre in the suburbs. Wildflowers rampant. A nod to foster roots. Neutral ground, she declared. Mowing lawns in solidarity. Invites pose dilemmas. Gary's biodad. Paroled and penitent. A maybe my cousins. Small-town skeptics. A hard no. Boundaries, our therapist affirmed. Her nod sage. Yet decisions weighed. Love's ledger balanced on what-ifs. Mom's evolution anchored us. She joined PFLAG. Her living room, now, sporting rainbow mugs. And our weekly calls flowed easier, recipes swapped. Her pride tentative but growing. Your father's watching, she'd say. Voice catching. Smiling. I'd choke up. Gary's hand grounding. But one call shattered calm. Evelyn's sick. Stage 4. Asks forgiveness. Evelyn, the Thanksgiving bigot. Rage flared. She hurt us. Mom's pause heavy. Hurt me too. Once. But grace. I relented. Visit scheduled. Gary by my side. Hospital room sterile. Evelyn frail in her gown. Monitors beeping dirge. Nicholas, she rasped. Eyes milky. I was wrong. Fear's poison. Confession poured. Her son's suicide. Unspoken gay. Fueling her hate. Projected shadows. Gary's grip tightened. Empathy warred with walls. We forgive, he said for us. Voice steady. Drive home, cathartic tears. World's not black-white, I murmured. He nodded. Shades of us. Wedding week crescendoed chaos. Rehearsal dinner rain-soaked. Cake topplers tumbling in transit. Rehearsal, officiant queer elder. Vows practiced under string lights. Laughter trumping nerves. You nervous? Gary asked, adjusting my collar in the mirror. His reflection haloed. Terrified, I admitted. You? Grin wolfish. Only if you bolt. Kiss sealed it soft. Promising. Day of dawn golden. Lacey's yard transformed. Arches of honeysuckle. Picnic tables groaning with potluck. Mom's deviled eggs. Gary's foster sis ribs. My shop's coffee earned steaming. Guests mingled. Brewed regulars in Hawaiian shirts. Gary's art prof with critiques paused. Even biodad. Awkward in khakis. Offering handshake. Proud. Son. Vows under oak. Sun dappling. Mine halting. From notes to now. You saw me, his fluid. All's led here I stay. Rings slid. Cheers erupted. Kiss sealed amid hoots. Reception wild. Band belting Springsteen. Dances sloppy. Mom twirling Gary. Tears smudging mascara. Speeches raw. Lacey's roast. From stockboy to heartthrob miracle. Mom's toast to love unbroken. Night waned fireworks. Us slipping away to the porch swing. Cricket's chorus. Husband, he whispered. Ring cool against my finger. Husband echoed. World right. Honeymoon road trip. Route 66 echoes. Tent pitched in Badlands. Stars vast. Conflicts minimal. Flat tire debates. Diner spats over maps. Deeper talks flow. Kids? Adopt. Unanimous. Careers? His firm promotion. My shop manager nod. Team, we vowed. Years cascaded. Twins adopted. Rambunctious. Elliot sketching like dad. Mia barista in training at age 5. Home upgraded. Suburban split level. Yard for swings. Mom relocated nearby. Grandma fierce. Reading Heather has 2 mommies at bedtime. Lacey partnered. Her wedding hours officiating. Full circle. Challenges persisted. Twins school bullying. Gary's creative block post-layoff. My burnout chasing expansions. Fights flared. Voices raised over report cards. Canvases slashed in frustration. But tools honed. Therapy check-ins. Date nights mandatory. Diner pie. Walks hand in hand. Betrayal's old scar itched once. Anonymous letter. Jake's mom recanting fully. Gary saved him. In ways. Closure. Gifted. Climax revisited subtly. 10th anniversary. Walmart invite. Corporate alumni event. Ironic gala. We went. Dress sharp. All's nostalgia. Speech impromptu. Gary at Mike. This place birthed us. Lost boys finding light. Applause thunders. Mom beams from table. Dance floor reclaim. Slow sway to Thunder Road. Whispers of then now. Legacy bloomed. Gary's book, graphic memoir. Fluorescent Hearts. Bestseller queer lit. Readings packed. Us signing side by side. Twins beam. Dad's story. Mom pens forward. From note to forever. By Kitch's shadow loomed late. Gary's diagnosis, prostate. Early. Treatable. Fears grip vice. Nights holding. Vows renewed in chemo lounge. No running, he joked. Bald pate gleaming. Recovery grueling. But community rallied. Fundraisers at Brood. Art auctions. Remission rang bells. Us. Scarred stronger. 20s runaways to 50s pillars. Legacy in lectures. Twins weddings. Elliot to artist. Mia to engineer. Grandkids tumble. Mom, great-grand, napping in rocker. Evenings porch swinged. Gary sketching sunsets. Me brewing decaf. Safe, he asks. Echoing origins. Always, I reply. Walmart distant memory. But its lesson eternal. Safety not place. But person, love's defiant stand. In America's weave, flawed. Fierce, we thrived. Human. Whole.